Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So as you can see, we are going to be making the next zodiac in the series, which will be Aquarius. I am so excited to make this today. This is actually another one of my favorite designs, and honestly I'm gonna probably repeat that throughout the whole process of making this series, but it is true, I love this one. So yeah, let's just get on with the video. So I'm actually going to be starting out with drafting a skirt pattern. So I don't know if you noticed in the quick concept design that I showed before, but we are going to be doing a mermaid style skirt. Now, two things. One, I have never made one of those. Two, I don't know how to make it. And let's just add a third one on. Let's find out how to make it, because I don't have a clue either. So let's find out together. So the way that I went about it was kind of similar to the tape method for creating patterns. So where you would tape all around the doll and then draw it out. But I am actually terrified of the tape method because that I love my doll so much. I did it once to make the smart doll dress form, and I really don't want to have to do that again. Also, excuse the backgrounds, I do have birds at the moment and they are loving making noise while I talk. So yeah. Anyway, to avoid the tape methods, I thought it would be a smart idea just to add some cotton calico fabric around her as tightly as I could, but keeping the room since I don't want it to be too tight when I actually do the sewing. So I'm just pinning that in place, and then I will be drawing on with pen where the seams will be. So my first step was to just draw the outline of the back seam on both sides, because that was just easier for me. Then I tried to find the side seam, which is always a bit hard, but I just kind of aimed where her hips were. And then I am drawing around that little dart that I created there. And that is just to help smooth it out when I sew it. Another one that I did was just in between the back seam and that side seam to create a princess seam in the back, then the center front, and then between the center front and the side seams again to create the side front kind of petal. So that would leave me with 4 panels, literally 4 panels for one side, so 8 panels in total. Now, I am gonna say that this was a whole debate for me because I don't know whether, or I didn't know, whether to keep the center as one piece on fold or to have a center seam. So I'd seen a few different methods done. I was looking on Pinterest for inspiration quite a bit, and some did have center seams and some didn't. So while I was at it, I thought I'll just figure it out and I'll try a center seam first. Which you'll see me do. Also, at the moment, I am just adjusting my pattern. I am truing it up. I think that's what they call it. Yeah, I'm not the best at this whole pattern stuff, but I thought I might as well give it a try just to get my curves a bit smoother and to get the lines a bit straighter where needed. Yeah, and then of course I do need to cut this up, get a seam allowance on there. So yeah. Okay, so these are the 4 pieces that I ended up with. I have labeled them accordingly with the front, the side, and the side back. No, the side back, well, you know what I mean, and the center back. It doesn't matter. My next step is just going to be... Can the birds just be quiet for a moment? No? Okay. What I'm doing now is literally drawing out the whole pattern again that I cut out, and I'm going to be adding a seam allowance of 1 centimeter. Now this is tedious, and this is probably one of the bits that I don't really like doing, but it is necessary to get a good fitting pattern. So yeah, let's just do that for all the pieces. Oh yeah, and to get that mermaid style, I did draw out the 2 diagonal lines just to create the flare at the bottom. And then I'm just smoothing that little curve out so it's not pointy. That's all that I'm doing to these patterns. And these are the pattern pieces that we ended up with. Now do keep in mind that for the center front at this stage I just left it with a unfold situation, and I will be changing that. But this is my very first trial with the unfold situations. So you can see that at the very bottom there. That's my center front unfold. Okay, so this is what we're at. I am not happy with it yet. First things first, this needs to be rounded, but we'll get to that at some point. This is starting too low, so I'm thinking of starting it like a bit higher. Plus I need to tighten the shape a little bit more to get it fitted even better, because that's what I need it to be like. And then start the flare from here. We go out, and I am still debating whether or not I want a center seam to have more flare here, but then I don't want a center seam anyway, so that's the current situation. But I'm going to be going up here, tightening that and starting it from there. So let's try number 2. I did not film try number 2 apparently, but I did change the center front to 2 separate panels with a seam, and I did draft just a quick top from scrap fabric again, which will be like pulled together with elastic or something. Alright, so this is the fabric that I chose. It is a really beautiful blue, watery kind of fabric, so it really suits the project. It looks more grey on camera, but I promise it's blue. The only thing is, this is quite a thick fabric, so I hope it works. It does have a bit of stretch in it, which is always nice, but yeah, we'll just get to cutting it out now. Now let's talk for a bit. So Aquarius is the next zodiac sign, also known as the water bearer, which is actually kind of funny since Aquarius isn't actually a water element, since it is supposed to be like an air and wind element. So that's actually really funny, but I didn't really want to keep like the water bearer theme to it. And the water bearers also kind of symbolize sometimes with a kind of like a mermaid-esque, hence the mermaid style skirt. So that's actually really something that I tried incorporating in there. Aquarius actually goes between January the 20th and February 18th. So actually Aquarius, the symbol for the water bearer, which many believe actually represents the gift of truth and pure intentions that they bring to the world. So I'm really curious, are you an Aquarius, and does this sound a bit like you? Also, what's your personality like? I would love to know. Comment down below. Okay, enough about the talking, let's get on with some instructions, because that's part of the tutorial, isn't it? Anyway, here you can see all the pieces that I cut out, and I did cut them out 2 at a time, which does mean I kind of forgot about that bit, but I don't have as much flexibility with the pattern. So on one side they were all light, but that meant on the other side they were all a lot darker. But that's okay, I work with it, and I actually really liked how it turned out. When it comes to sewing, I tend to start with the center front, because that's how I like doing things, starting from the center front. I'm just going to be lining them up with the right sides together, and then continuing on with the side front, the sides, and or like the side back, and then the back, center back. Leaving the center back open at this stage because I wasn't sure to add a zipper or not. Spoiler alert, it has a stretch fabric, so I didn't need a zipper. And here I'm just pointing out once again that I kind of regret not cutting them out separately, as you can really see the dark and then the light a bit, but at the same time I thought it was actually kind of nice and playful, so that's why I kept it. I will be overlooking all the edges, by the way. Just one more thing that I do want to mention is for this pattern I did put letters on there just to mark which side gets attached where, because it's kind of hard to see sometimes. But you can see here I've got an A and a B side. A attaches to the center front and then B attaches to the side back and so on. So yeah. And on that note, I am mentioning this because I do have a Ko-fi account now. Yes, I do. I have spent a lot of my time to try and make these patterns into digital download patterns, which you can download for free on my Ko-fi. But if you do want to support me in any way, feel free. You can choose to do that, but you of course don't have to. It is just an easier way for me, and I can make more patterns digital if you want me to. So I do have one other pattern on there already, and that was as a request, and that is actually my zodiac Capricorn. So yeah, that one is on there already. Check it out if you really like the pattern, and this one is on there now too. So I hope you check it out, and we'll continue with the tutorial. Closing up the bag for now, I am keeping the little end bit open, but keep in mind that if yours is a stretch like mine, then you can sew it all the way, and otherwise you just need to figure out what you want to be for closure. I mean, not what you want to be, but what you want to have for closure. You can have like a snap or a hook and eye, or you can have, I don't know, lace up. You can do that too. So yeah. Now, because I don't want you to get bored because I'm too quiet for too long. Yeah, I know you. I know you like to listen to me. Okay, anyway, we will be overlocking the top of the skirt as well as overlocking the bottom of the skirt. That will help with hemming later on. Now we have most of the skirt done, but we are going to be adding a fun little ruffle detail with this fabric. I don't know what it's called. It's like a mix between an organza and one of those stiffer ones. I don't know what it is. It was cheap and it was exactly what I needed. So yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to be cutting off a width, just kind of winging that. I don't know how wide it is, but I just kind of figured that that was the size that I wanted it to be. Lined it up as neatly as possible, which was kind of hard, but I just did my best. And what I will be doing is I'll be ruffling these up, and you can do that on a few different ways, but the way that I like doing it was just doing a gathering stitch and then just gathering them all together. And I ended up getting like 3 or 4 lengths, I think, yeah, 4 I think. 1 for the top and then 3 used for the bottom. Because yeah, we're having ruffles on the top and the bottom of the skirt, so woohoo! Oh yeah, and then I used a little bit more for the bottom of the top for the ruffle as well. Now, because this fabric is really thin and delicate, I did decide to gather this by hand. So I just got a blue-ish matching thread and just gathered this all by hand. And something that I like doing is actually, so I'm actually sewing some together first, but I like to start out and tie a knot at one end. So I can just pull them as tight as I want without losing my end bit, you know? Where usually you would gather from both sides, I am now just gathering from one side. So at this point my center back, that little bit, is still open because I hadn't figured out yet if I wanted to close it or not, like completely. and it helped out with sewing this on. But I'm just lining this up facing down so that we can actually flip it up to do the hemming all at once. So yeah, I'm just trying to pin this in place, making sure that my ruffles are evenly spaced. And that's my birdie. Anyway, making sure they are evenly spaced, the ruffles, and then pinning them in place before hand stitching this first. And I think I might have gone in with the sewing machine, but I'm not sure. But there was a lot of hand stitching. I'm not most patient with hand stitching, so this was low-key torture. Not too bad, but I chose this for myself, so yeah. I don't have anyone to blame, except for myself. No, it's fine. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out, so it's fine. It's fine. You hear me? It is fine. So after having sewn all of that by hand, I then folded it downwards or up, depends which way you're looking at it, pinned it all in place, and now I'm going with the sewing machine to make sure it has a nice, even, neat line. And this is what we're currently at. We have just added that one. And now we're gonna do the same to the bottom here. So just a little note, this is still the front and the back. It is not one piece. But just a little note, I did cut some of the extra length off here, since this fabric does have a pretty good stretch width ways. So yeah, I'm just gonna make it really nice and fitted. I can also take off some of the bottom bit, but leave enough for the hemming. So yeah, I am gonna just cut off the bottom bit, and then the next bit that I want to start with is lining them up at the shoulders and sewing those. Alright, so we have sewn this little piece there. I like this to be my front, so quite honestly, I did initially plan for this to be the front, so the shoulder on this side, but I feel like this is too dark and I like this side more, so this shoulder will just be on the other side, it doesn't matter. But for this step, it doesn't matter yet. We need to hem the front, and while we're at it, we're also gonna attempt to hem this bit here. So because it is curved, it does make it a bit more difficult, but just snip if you need to, just go into the corners there and use plenty of pins. Okay, so here we are. This is what we are currently looking like. I have hemmed both of those. Weirdly enough, I struggled with this, so it's not the neatest, not as neat as I would have liked it to be, or at least I mostly had to go back to fix something, but it is fine. I'm actually pretty happy with it. So the next step, which I'm struggling to show with one hand, is actually closing up the sides. Yeah. Okay, we are back to this weird fabric, but we are going to have some fun with this. So I kind of want to represent this as the air, or kind of like the water, but mostly I had it in mind as the air or like the wind, bender style, you know, and have like a fun cape with that. So I'm just going to be rounding out the edges where it will be open and attached to some cuffs that will go around her wrists. So yeah, just struggling with that, but I'll get there. So it's really hard to show you, but I have cut this into a half circle. Ignore this piece, that is actually, I just haven't lined it up properly. And then I have gone ahead and folded it in half, put a pin at the halfway mark, and then 2 pins where I want it to be. And then we're going to be doing a simple gathering from there to there, just until it fits into the back of her t-shirt, or you know, the top. So yeah, let's do that. So I'm back with the hand sewing because I love doing that so much, and I'm just hand gathering this all over again. And I'm just taking my time. In reality, this took forever, and this is just a really sped up version that you're seeing. So lucky you, you don't have to sit through this. Unless you're following along with me, then good luck and have fun. I hope you like hand sewing. I did actually hem the bottom of her shirt first and then attach that cape, since it only attaches to a small part. And I am leaving all the other edges raw. And my next step is actually grabbing those two corners and making some handcuffs. Handcuffs sounded wrong, but here you can see what I mean. They're just cuffs that go around her wrists. So, handcuffs. Now, let's add some fun detailing. So, I was gonna use some pearls, but I don't have any pearls. And hey, turns out I still had this beautiful lace trimming. So I figured I'd use this. And yes, I did go out to buy this button. I specifically bought this one for this project. It was worth it. And I didn't buy pearls, no, that's fine, because I had this. Okay, anyway, so what I'm going to be doing is kind of making a belt situation that has two loops. So actually 2 loops has reason behind it. And it is actually that when you look at the sign for Aquarius, there's like the 2 zigzaggies over the top of each other. So I wanted to represent that and do it through this. And then I did add a little bit of the scrap blue, and I also added that to the front of the top there, as you can see, with also one of those shell buttons. And this is what the final Aquarius design ended up looking like. I am so incredibly proud of this, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps my channel out. Leave a comment down below on any ideas you have for future projects or anything else, even about this project. Questions, feel free to ask them, I will happily answer those. Check out my Ko-fi account, since this pattern is on there, so if you really like this outfit, I spent a lot of time on it, so it is on there now. And I will see you all next time. You have a wonderful day. Bye! Let me introduce you to the 2 that have been making a lot of noise today. So down here we have Lemon, a beautiful yellow parakeet, and up here we have Blueberry, or also known as Blue. As you can see, he's the one who's usually making the most noise, and Lemon is the one making the cute noise. Hello, Blue.